Hello my friends, I'm Professor Hans von Puppet. Welcome back to the Roaming Startup Show. Today, Zach and Bob give us their top 3 campaigns on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Zach also tells us about the upcoming VIP specials. Oh, let's watch.
All right, thank you, Haas von Puppet, for that introduction, and once again, welcome to the Roaming Startup Show. My name's Zach, and I'm here with Bob.
Hey, how you doing, Zach?
Oh, pretty good. And so we're going to start up a new segment here. Just going to list out 3 Kickstarters, and it's going to be the flavor of the week, and we'll get to dive into why we chose it. So I'll let you kick off the first edition of this week's Pick 3.
All 3 of mine are on Indiegogo. And my first one is a campaign called Dave's Shower Shave. I really, really liked the video on this. I thought they did a great job on it. The concept behind it is an item that's about the size of bar soap that's in your shower. It has a suction cup on it so it can stick to a wall. On the outside of it, the opposite side of the suction cup, is a fog-free mirror. So you can use it as a showering mirror. You can hold it in your hand easily when you're shaving, or also stick it up on the shower and shave with it. But the neat thing is when you open it up, inside is a lathering soap that you can use for shaving. It's specifically aimed at guys, although it says that women think it works really well. Comes in 3 different scents: sage, spruce, and mint. It travels well. They've got it set up so that it meets all the codes of security for travel. So you can take it with you, and seals up real nice so that it stays really contained. One of the things they did really well on their campaign is they pushed it so that if you ported it now, it would ship by Christmas, which is a really good idea. I actually backed this one. They've got about $5,000 out of $7,500 on their project, and with 9 days left to go. Again, a great product that they did a really nice video of, and really made me want to jump in and support it.
And I think you were telling me, isn't it, there's something scientific about it that it's actually recommended?
Yeah, in the video, one of the things they said is dermatologists say it's good for your pores, it softens your skin, the hair stand up better for shaving. I mean, they really did a great job of promoting this. And then they also had lots of footage. I guess this company's been around for a while making this Dave shower shave. They do it by hand, and they're trying to automate it a little bit. That's the idea behind the campaign. And they've got great footage of their factory and how they're doing this by hand right now and laying it out. They use natural products to make these bars. I was really impressed with the project.
Gotcha. Well, my first pick, I went with Star Citizen, and it's actually a computer game, and the reason why I ended up choosing this, well, there's a couple of reasons. The first reason is I'm a video game player, so it really piqued my interest. I got to, watch it, see it, and it really got me excited. But the more I started dissecting it just from, our business standpoint of how to successfully fund Kickstarters, it had a lot of elements I wanted to bring to following to kind of take some things away. And the first big thing that I noticed is the video is just incredible. He's obviously a game designer, and there's going to be some stuff that more than likely novice Kickstarters aren't going to be able to do, but he's got himself in a starship. You can tell it's CGMA and animated all around him, but he's in a starship talking just nonchalantly, and he actually starts with the intro saying, "You thought I was dead. Experts said I was dead, but that's simply far from the truth." And then it goes into, he's actually talking about computer games because it's only on a computer console. And they were saying, everything's going to console games, and then everything's now shifting to iPad. And he really wanted to bring back the medium of gaming. So the actual video was really well done. So that's obviously something you're going to want to check out, see if you can't mimic. But what really caught my attention was their stretch goals and also their rewards. If you go to the rewards and their stretch goals, you almost feel like you're playing the video game, and it's a multiplayer to level up. As everybody's hitting this stretch goal, you're unlocking new rewards to the game for everybody. So all of a sudden, you've got this entire population that's backed you, and you're then telling them, well, if you just get to here, then you get this one and only robot that nobody else in the game is going to have, and he's got this meter, and once they get it, it says level up. I can see how if I had backed the project, which I haven't yet, if I had backed the project, it'd be something to where I'm getting as many people involved and even talking to people who've already backed it to get to that next big perk. Because right now, they're at 960,000 out of 500,000, so way over their goals. They still have 12 days to go, and the next one's at 1 million, and you get a whole new starship for the game.
How much longer do they have, Zach?
12 days. 12
Okay,
days.
so I want to make sure I understand this. As they're going through stretch goals, effectively, they've got it kind of interlinked with the idea of an online game where everybody's gaining levels with these stretch goals. Do I understand this right? This is a great concept for selling stretch goals.
Right, and that's really why I picked it, and you're absolutely dead on. There's like this bar that he's been consistently updating on his Kickstarter, and this bar is saying, next level or completed, and then it says level 2, and level 2 is going to be your robot, and level 3 is the $1 million, and it's your spaceship, and level 4 is a gunner on the spaceship, and he just keeps adding these new levels to where only backers will be available to get these perks. So if you don't invest in the 16 days, you could actually be at a disadvantage in the multiplayer. A couple things to point out when it comes to Kickstarter. This is from Cloud Imperial Gaming and Chris Roberts, who's the original gamer from Wing Commander. So he had a following, which obviously helps. But really, if you look at the video on the stretch goals, I think that's really what made this project. He probably would have got to the 500,000 just with the name and everybody knowing what he's for. But I think what really set it over the edge is take a note on the stretch goals and take a note on the video.
Great idea. My second one is a community one. Community campaigns have been tough for me to kind of get into. First off, Indiegogo has a bunch of them. And what a community campaign basically is trying to raise funds for someone or something in a community. And it can range anything from, right now, there's a number of them going for the Sandy hurricane victims. This particular one is called Help Larry Fix His Stand. It's an interesting community one. On October 29th, the Giants win the World Series. San Francisco goes nuts. And I guess after you win a World Series, if you're a diehard Giants fan, the first thing you want to do is set something on fire. Right after this event and the celebration in the streets, there's a little shoe shine stand, a little chair, a shoe shine stand, and it's owned by Larry, who's a homeless guy. That's how he's making his living right now in the streets of San Francisco, dating myself there with that reference. And it's set on fire. What a way to celebrate. So Megan Hopkins, who's a local person who knows Larry, decides to start this campaign to rebuild the stand. She does a campaign trying to raise $5,000. Now, some background on Larry. I've actually contacted Megan to try and set up an interview with Larry. Larry is a recovering addict. He's been on the streets for a number of years. He's trying to make his way back, and the stand was his way of doing it. The goal was to raise $5,000. She's got 24 days to go, and she's a little over $10,000, almost $11,000 right now. So needless to say, Larry will have a really nice shoe shine stand until the Giants, win a playoff game, I guess, or something like that. Great community campaign. A really good job. No video, which was kind of interesting because you and I both know video seems to make a big difference on these campaigns. She accomplished this with just a picture of Larry, a picture of his stand after the fire. She linked in some news stories from the local newspapers on this event, and I think that added a lot of credibility. And of course, for me, when you're talking about a community campaign, credibility is what it's about. Is that for real? Is the first thing I'm asking myself, or is it a scam?
Right, and so on these community campaigns, obviously without a video, if you're going to start a community campaign, it sounds like you're telling me you need to have a story that people can relate to and want to back, but more importantly, from your standpoint, they need credibility?
It's got to be a mixture. First off, you're dead on. You have to have a story. I mean, the campaigns, maybe just not even community. I think the most compelling campaigns on both Kickstarter and Indiegogo seem to be ones that have a really good story, and the video just is a media form of that story. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Indiegogo is going to be the one that generally does these community type stories, but just based off, whether it's how you came up with the idea, why you're doing it, if there's some sort of background story other than I need money because I have an item here to sell you, you're going to do much, much better than the route I just took is give me money because I have an item to sell you.
Yeah, the story helps a lot. And then with community, I think you have to have some kind of credibility. The odd thing is, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot of obvious credibility. In other words, Red Cross isn't out there using this right now, although I wouldn't be surprised if they did in the future. So there's not that big structure that's giving you that feeling that you have credibility. It seems to be more along the lines of how you tell a story on whether or not you're going to have that credibility.
Well, I'm going to dive into my second project here, and it's Unlace, a new twist on tangle-free chords by Cindy Glass and Dante Powells, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name there, but these two ladies, in their video, they start off by giving us a problem. They give us a solution to that problem, and then they give a pretty good video. So obviously they start by showing tangled chords. They start by showing tangled microphone cords, tangled TV cords, and how they came together and they were just two females with iPhones with a common displeasure for tangled chords, and then they talked about how they came up with a very simple solution. And one of the major reasons why I decided to go ahead and put this on my pick 3 is on my original one that I talked to you about with the video game. The video was obviously very well done, professionally done. He probably spent a good chunk of money on it. And this video was very, very basic, but it kept the audience entertained. So I kind of wanted to give contrasting videos on my picks here. So on one hand, I've got a very, very professionally done video, but on the other hand, I've got something to where it's not bad. It's actually really good, and it keeps you entertained, and it's kind of funny because they use some puns in there that don't actually go together. But you can tell it's not a high-dollar project and that they haven't done a lot in video. So I really wanted to have everybody who's following the show go and check out this video because while it kept me entertained, I could tell like the production value. They didn't go and drop $1,000 to $2,000 to get the video developed. So that was the first aspect that I liked. The second part is I'm starting to work on a formula, especially if you're product driven, that I think will come out. And I don't want to go crazy on it because we're still in the early stages. But it seems like if you present a problem, a good solution to that problem, and then a quality Kickstarter, you're almost always going to get funded. And it seems to be a very simple solution. And this video really outlines it because they do a great job of showing you the problem at the beginning of the video, then outline how they fixed it with these twisty ties that have been rubberized and they'll hold almost anything. Like they're showing power cords and different things that can hold it, and they come in different sizes and colors and everything. And so they solve the problem, and they solve it relatively cheaply, and then they ask you to back it so that we can have our tangled cord look nice and pretty and solve the problem. Really, really like the project. And something I found really interesting on it is while they came in with a large social media, and what I mean by that is on Facebook they had over 450 friends, so they have what I would consider a good size media. They've already got 600 to 700 backers that by the end of this campaign. They're at 528, but they still have over 11 days to go. They're going to be well over their media stretch, but having that large social media probably helped them get this idea out and about. And then once you become hot on Kickstarter, it seems to be pretty easy to stay on that what's hot and what's trendy page.
Now, Zach, on this one, you and I were fighting over which one would talk about this earlier this evening, and it was really interesting because whoever I've shown this to, after they watch this video, and you're right, it is not quality production. I mean, it is not badly done. It's just not the professional production that you'll see in a lot of video games, etc. But everybody I've showed it to said, "Oh yeah, I'll back that," just to get the product. So. And how much longer do they have on this?
I believe it's around 11 days. Don't quote me on that at the time of our production here. I'm not 100%. It's not in my notes. I should have got it.
Are they fully funded yet?
Yes. They have $20,133. Their goal was $10,000, so they've doubled it. Yes.
They have crushed this.
Yeah. There's no doubt they've hit what they wanted, and really they didn't use a lot of some of the I don't want to say gimmicks, but kind of the tips and tricks. Like, they didn't have anything that was limited offer, limited time. They literally knew that they had a problem that, you know, outside of the old twisty ties is what we call them, they didn't really have a solution. So this is something that's reusable, something that's easy to use, and so they present a problem, they have a really solid project, they do a decent video, once again, not a lot of money put into the video, but enough to keep you entertained, enough to make you smile throughout it. Something that kind of caught my attention is they both came on at the very beginning of the video and thanked you for watching it prior to watching the video. And it was just something that I haven't seen done yet, and it was just, hey, thanks for taking the time out of your day. We know you're busy. Thank you. And it just kind of gave you an idea that this was going to be something that they were somebody you were going to like, and that you were hoping it was going to be a good project because you wanted to back it. As
you know, I backed this one too. I want the product. I want to use the product. I'm really happy that they were successful. My third is a strange one. It's not a community. It's a book that's being funded, but it's a book that fits a number of needs. Like you and I have talked about this before. If you want to be successful in this, find a need, find a pain point, come up with a solution. And this one here is the Unschool Adventurer's Guide to Online Travel Fundraising. Blake Bowles is the guy who does this. This is his third book. I got to say this book's title one more time slowly so it sinks in. The Unschool Adventurer's Guide to Online Travel Fundraising.
Can I interrupt you real quick? I don't mean to jump in. So this is his third book he's put up?
Yes, and he's crowdsourced the other two also and been successful with them.
So he's already got a following coming into this.
Absolutely. And again, he had no video on this. This was just some pictures and descriptors. This is really a how-to fundraise and crowdfunding. That is the focus. His first book was College Without High School. It was a book aimed at high school kids, encouraging them, get your GED, go straight to college. High school's a waste. It could be argued that high school is a little bit of a purgatory sometimes to get to college. His second book, Better Than College, and that book was aimed at the idea of self-learning by traveling. You could learn a whole lot more than you could in college as far as life skills that will affect you later.
Whoa, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
That's the subject. I'll go ahead and jump on that. A college grad, lots of business experience already. Obviously, I'm not against college. There's some professions that obviously need college, but you and I have had multiple discussions on this. The value of college and what you learn in college compared to your experience of what you learn seems to be that the experiences far outweigh the college value. So,
yeah, I would agree. He's got a nice following. He's got a blog at blakebowles.com. He also has a nice following of unschooling. It's an organization around the idea of this concept of learning through traveling. He's really done a really nice job of giving opportunities out there for people to travel and raise funds to do that via crowdsource and learn in the world. He's right now over his goal. He had $1,500 for this one book. He's over that right now. He's got 7 days left to go. Both of the other projects were both big winners. The first one was almost $20,000. This is a guy to watch. He has understood the idea of crowdfunding, and he's really putting together a great program for his people.
One of the great things about internet and internet businesses is somebody like that who is really doing a very similar concept to what we're doing on our blog. We're going to promote. It's not like, Walmart and Kmart across the street from each other. We want to get valued content to our readers and our subscribers, and so if he's giving good content, we're going to promote it here on the Roaming Startup. Absolutely.
And you're right. This kind of business online is different than the Walmart or the Kmarts because having competition is not only good, it's vital. you have to have audience out there that finds this stuff interesting.
I'm gonna throw a curveball here. My last project, it's called Beer Lab. It's some guys out in England, and what they're doing is they want to earn enough money on this Kickstarter to be able to brew their own beer throughout the year. They're going to put up scientific calculations, measurements. They've got a program that they've designed and developed. Ultimately, they'd like to get into a microbrewery. What they're trying to do is just survive the year while they make this whole experience happen. And throughout this whole experience, they're going to be making a recipe book. They're going to be making a how-to video. They're going to talk about what not to do, because they're going to, he says it on his video, they're going to make some really bad beer. They're going to provide recipes that are good. So right there, I love the material. Looking at their rewards, if you back them and different things, I really wanted to back them as far as I wanted some of the stuff that they were offering. Now, this is where I'm going to throw you the curveball. They are not going to hit their goal. They are nowhere close. I think they have $330 funded, and they're aiming for $20,000. Now, they just started up, but there's no real push for it. And I've identified a couple things, and I want to use them as example in my pick 3 to kind of give you an idea of what to look for and what to avoid. Obviously, we talk about all these great things and these great projects and how great they're doing, but like I said, I wanted to throw the curveball in here and have you identify a couple things with Beer Lab, because like I said, I think they have a great project, and as a beer lover myself, I would have backed it. But looking at some things, their video is just they do a pretty good introduction of this old 50s, 60s movie where they're singing a beer song and chugging some beer, which is pretty cool. But then it cuts to the guys who are doing it, and he talks for 7 or 8 minutes about the project, and he's just in his room. It's pretty good video quality, but about 30 seconds in, he lost me. It was just not a very good video. And then the second thing that really blew my mind on this is he had no social media linked. So you know where you normally see Facebook and they have 550 friends, 600 friends, 700 friends. He actually hasn't linked to social media. So my guess here is this was 2 guys who were hocked up on beer. And they wanted a free ride for a year. And like I said, I liked a lot of the stuff they brought to the table, but I think going and looking at Beer Lab and seeing what they're doing, it really shows the importance of bringing a following in, having your social media, even if it's just friends and family. You want to get that back. You want to get that initial push. You want to get that help from them so that you can get on, Kickstarter's trendy pages. And then the second thing is having a quality video, and by quality I don't mean expensive. We've already shown you, and this is kind of what the progression of why I picked what I picked. But the first video was obviously expensive to make, but the second video wasn't. But having a quality video is really, really important, especially on Kickstarter. Indiegogo, you kind of had some more story-based programs because of Kickstarter's rules and regulations. You can't bring any concepts to the table. You couldn't do some of the projects you mentioned earlier. So on Kickstarter, if you choose to do Kickstarter because of the mainstream and because of the following that Kickstarter brings to the table, you have to have a quality video. It doesn't matter how cool the project is or how much. I mean, I wanted to fund it. I was deeply depressed because when I first saw it, I'm like, that's right up my alley. I love trying beers, and it would be kind of cool to make my own beer in my basement, and they're going to tell me how to do it and what not to do. But then getting to watch the video and just seeing the lack of attention, the lack of detail on this project, I really wanted to bring it up. And I'm sure if they come across this, they're going to sit there and go, "Man, he's just really killing us." But hopefully they can pick up on a couple of my points and maybe learn from it and redo the project. It's really going to be their downfall and what kills them.
Do you think it was serious? I mean, were they doing this for real, or was this? I've seen a couple projects out there, a couple campaigns on Indiegogo that I think, I'm not sure this is real. I think they're just kind of doing this on a lark, or maybe even a prank.
See, and I thought that right off the bat, but the thing that blew my mind is they kind of go into like specific calculations. They show the program that they made to show different measurements, different temperatures, the type of equipment they're using. I mean, this isn't just, I'm going to build beer in my basement in a boot type deal. They've put some thought and they put some effort in their product. But what they haven't done is put some effort in their actual Kickstart campaign. There's 3 stages in a project that are desperately important. In the beginning, you have to start hot. You have to start big. That first 2 days is going to be probably the second most funding you get.
That's that 20% rule. You got to reach 20% if you're going to be successful.
Right, and then you have your middle, and while it's going to be slow and steady through your middle, I haven't seen really any updates. You always can see where they're going. You and I have the same app where it shows their level of funding, and really that $300 came on that first couple days, and they haven't done anything since. So.
And if you're going to get anything beyond that first few days worth of stuff, as you know, and it's what you're indicating, you got to stay in contact with your audience. You have to encourage them not just to support you, but to reach out start talking to their folks about doing something.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and plug 2 of our interviews here, there's no shame in it. Base Raiders, the Angel of Mercy series, he's on update number 16. He is consistently sending out information as a backer and consistently getting new updates. He's got journals he's sending out, but the other 2 do a really good job. But if you go to the podcast, you'll see that he's obviously learned from some experiences, and it's really important. And unfortunately for this beer lab with a great project, they probably just it's experience, learning how to do it, and that's what we can even tie back into the book you were talking about. That's probably why that book is so valuable, and why hopping onto our website and listening to some of our material. I'm not saying we're rocket scientists, but really doing your research before going into a project is so important. And Ross hit it right on the head in our Base Raiders. He consistently is researching new ways, new tips to get his projects funded, and he's consistently successful on all the projects he puts up.
Yeah, I think that's actually another show that we're going to do somewhere down. We've talked about this. 10 of the tips and tricks that we've seen people do to be more successful in their campaigns and their Kickstarter projects. So that's a show all its own. We're going to have to do that.
Yeah, we're going to cut it off. That show will be a VIP show, so we need you to sign up. Obviously, there's links everywhere. So if you want that type of content going forward, I'm obviously going to get our subscriber list up here. Go ahead, subscribe. It's completely free. If you don't have anything else, I'm going to kick it off to Professor Hans von Puppet and let him end our show.
Take care, Zach.
Well, thank you for joining us, boys and girls. Some of those campaigns were very interesting. By the way, Zach, it's Professor Hans von Puppet, you Wiener Schnitzel. Tune in next week as we learn more about how to fund your dreams with crowdfunding. Till then, remember to keep dreaming and don't get tied down with any strings.